It is a beautiful fall afternoon at America's National Park of Speed. That's Road America. Good afternoon. It's time for H Production as the part of the 66th running, or the 60th running, should we say, of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, and thanks to Mazda for presenting our broadcast. I'm John Phippen alongside Lefty McLeod, and the third member of our broadcast team down on pit lane is Hayward Wagner. Hey, Hayward.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. We have a great field of cars here for H Production. I want to talk about these front three real quick before we kick back up. If you have a favorite radio station, they might talk about the best of 80s, 90s, and today, and that's kind of what we've got going on here. We've got Steve Sargis, who's the mainstay of the class, back in third in the Spitfire. On pole, you've got Chuck Mathis, and in the middle, the newest car in the class, the Mazda 2, driven by Jesse Prather. Jesse has been the pace of the class all week until the very last lap of qualifying, when Chuck was able to get on his back bumper and get a tow all the way around and pulled a faster qualifying time on the very last lap of qualifying. So what we know is that Chuck can sit on Jesse's bumper. We know that Jesse can run. The question is going to be, can Star just hang with these guys? And then what is Albin and Gopper and the rest of the field going to do if those guys get into each other?
Thanks, Hayward. Great insight, and that's exactly the case. I think a lot of people are wondering just what the story is going to be with this brand new car for Jesse Prather, but let's talk a little bit about this beautiful 14-turn, 4-mile facility. Lefty, take us around a lap.
Yeah, this place is absolutely gorgeous here in the fall. They are going to come screaming down that long front straight down into turn 1, which is a very fast, but relative to the straightaway, you got to take some speed off. Down turn 1, down the hill, down the chute into 3. Most critical exit probably on the track at 3, because now it's a bit of a light uphill to get all the way down into 4, and then we start the twisty parts. We're probably going to be a lot of passing opportunities into 5 at the end of that back straight, up into 6 under the Corvette Bridge. We're going to go around through 7 and down the hill into 8, down those hurry downs. Then we can get down to that carousel, and these cars are going to be taking all kinds of crazy different lines, sliding around the carousel. That'll get them down the hill to the kink, and then finally the long run down the Moraine sweep down to Canada down at 12. That's another great passing opportunity at 12. They'll come out at 12, around the shadows of the trees, up Bill Mitchell Bend at 13, and then the other critical exit corner 14. A bit of an awkward braking zone, but if you get the exit right, so rewarding.
Indeed it is, and it always presents for some photo finishes for these closely marked classes, and looking forward to H Production coming up. But before we roll the cars away, let's just take a moment and thank some of the folks that make this broadcast possible.
Choose joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
Wake up.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. Way out there. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
Wake up.
We're back here at Road America waiting for the cars to roll away for this Ace Production Final. This race will be 13 laps or 40 minutes, as they all are here this weekend. And this is a class with a lot of former champions in it, 17 national championships, but all of those are compressed in the top 5 drivers in the field. The pole sitter Chuck Mathis winning this race in G Production back in 2006. Jesse Prather, a 6-time national champion, most recently in 2022 in his E Production BMW. Steve Sargis, the man with the most championships, 9 of them, most recently in this class in 2021. This is his 40th runoff start, is Steve Sargis, the veteran in the Blackhawk Valley region from Hartford, Wisconsin, in his Triumph Spitfire. So those are the top 3. Greg Galper qualified 5th in the number 15 Honda Civic SI. He is the 2011 champion of the class. As the 1-minute board being given to the field, as our grid workers keeping everybody up to speed on the plan. And you heard that comment earlier on about Jesse Prather and Chuck Mathis going around in formation on the final day of qualifying, and Jesse giving Chuck a nice tow and enabled him to set the pole position by just about 0.2 of a second, 0.184, the difference between the two on that final day of qualifying.
When I talked to Jesse after that, he wasn't thrilled that he towed Chuck around for that lap. He thought that's not something he meant to do, but he let it all happen, and he knows how this game is played. Jesse's been around a long time in this game. When I talked to Chuck, he reminded me that happened on the Thursday qualifying in the 3-day format that we have. Chuck reminded me of the Wednesday qualifying. Chuck was on purple sectors 1 and 2 on an absolute smoker of a lap when the right front suspension failed the car down in turn 8. He knows what that lap time was on pace for, so he's pretty confident. Both these front two, both Chuck and Jesse, very confident in their cars and their abilities in this race.
Let's run the starting grid for you. 20 cars in this field, and on the pole, his second pole position is Chuck Mathis in that number 54 from the Southern Illinois region in his Volkswagen Rabbit. Alongside him, the 6-time champion Jesse Prather in the number 34 Mazda 2 from the Kansas region. Starting third is the 9-time champion Steve Sargis in car number 18 from the Blackhawk Valley region in his Triumph Spitfire. Outside of him is car number 3, Chris Albin from the Southern Illinois region as well in his Volkswagen Golf. In row 3 on the inside, car number 15, Greg Galper, the 2011 champion, home driver here from the Milwaukee region in his Honda Civic SI. Next to him, from my home region, Matt Brannon in the number 22 from the Ohio Valley region in his Fiat X19. He's a part of a father-son duo in this field. The number 53 of Ralph Lindo just behind him from the Nebraska region in his Volkswagen Golf. Car 33, Robert Bax from the Cincinnati region in his Mini Cooper. Then we have car 7, William Trainer out of the Chicago region in a Volkswagen Sirocco. That's what I meant to say. Duh. All right, outside of row 5. Outside of row 5, Matt Brannon's son, Braden Connolly, in the number 12, also from the Ohio Valley region, also in a Fiat X19. Starting 11th, the 142 of Angus Crome from the Southern Illinois region in his Volkswagen Golf. Car 81 is Jerry Olson out of the Colorado region in his Austin Healey Sprite. Car number 80 is Kendall Jones from the Detroit region in an MG Midget. Car 07, Andrew Wright from the Tennessee region in another Triumph Spitfire. Right behind him is the 84 of Vince LaManna from the Finger Lakes region in his Volkswagen Rabbit, and the 05 of Leanna Wright from the Tennessee region. She's also in a Mini Cooper. Starting 17th, the 06 of Joe Camilleri from the Northeast Ohio region, or the Ohio region, as I'm frequently corrected, in his Volkswagen Scirocco. Then the 98 of Michael Miller from the Central Carolinas region in an Austin Healey Sprite. Starting shotgun on the field, car number 27, R. Paul Evans from Wolf City, Texas, in the Texas region in his Nissan PL510. This is his second runoff start. He's doing double duty this weekend. He's also competing in GT2.
What I love about this class, the variety of cars.
Yes, absolutely.
We were talking at the start up front. You've got 3 pretty different cars between the Mazda, the Volkswagen, and of course that Spitfire of Sargis. But you look down the order between Hondas and Fiats and Minis. You've got just such a variety, and even within the Volkswagens, Rabbits and Golfs, Scirocco's or Chicago's. It's a whole lot of variety in this class, and I absolutely just love seeing that. And because then it leads to they make speed a little bit different. They might have different gearing off of one corner. Maybe one's got an advantage, the other's got it somewhere else. And I just love the way that plays out in a class like this.
Yeah, and a Datsun 510 right at the tail end of the field. I mean, it's just great to see this variety. And I mean, this class was always full of Woodbury sports cars back in the day. And it's great to see the variety and the Japanese and the European manufacturers coming in. The 2 Fiat X19s, Matt Brannon and his son Braden operating a company called Midwest Bayless, which is an Italian tuning shop in Columbus, and They've always raced these X19s and have a great time and have had great success with it at my home region, the Ohio Valley region. So looking forward to them having a good weekend as well.
Yeah, I was they're up at the paddock here down closer to the south end, and walked through there about an hour ago, and it was seriously the calm before the storm. Nobody wrenching.
Yep.
Nobody really talking. Drivers sitting in driver suits, sitting in folding chairs, just kind of waiting for things to come. And I just had this sort of calm before the storm. Everybody's sort of just prepping for the big heavyweight fight here, and I think that's what we're going to see here is a lot of heavyweight throwdown. The real question is, can Chuck and Jesse pull away from Steve, and can any of the top three pull away from the Albin, Gopper, and the group there behind them?
Yeah, and historically, attrition is a factor in this class. These H production cars are wound pretty tight, as they might say. We used to joke that this is a 13-lap race, that the drivers would put a 14-lap hand grenade underneath the hood to try to extract every ounce of performance they can. But these guys are going to line up 2 by 2 as they begin the climb up the hill to get this party started. As we mentioned, 13 laps or 40 minutes for all of our races this weekend, and you could not ask for better weather. 66 degrees, bright sunshine. The leaves are just about at peak color. It is a great weekend to go racing. Jesse Prather on the outside. Inside of Chuck Mathis, we wait. There's the green. Mathis gets a little bit of a jump. Let's see how Prather in that Mazda 2 that he's done the tuning work in, as they are going to have a little bit of a horsepower duel down here. And right behind them is Steve Sargis, as he's going to try to stuff it down to the inside, all but going around the outside in that yellow Volkswagen. Everybody minding their P's and Q's, gets through turn number 1 safely. Jesse Prather in the lead, Chuck Mathis right behind him, Steve Sargis in third, just as they qualified.
It took them to get through turn 1 before they finally broke their formation of the 2x2 all the way down and in with Sargis and Albin and the others behind, but now they've gone single file at least through the first 5 or 6. It looks like the rest are starting to do the same, but let's see if it stays that way, as these cars can pick up a little draft, especially with the bigger Mazda 2 and the bigger Volkswagen in front of the little Spitfire there in the middle of this, or even the smaller Fiat sitting in 5th.
Matt Brannon's picked up a spot as well, as he moves up into 4th right behind Chris Hallman, as they go single file down into turn number 5, with one very notable exception. There's the 15 of Greg Galper diving down to the inside, retaking that spot that he lost on that first turn. Jesse Prather trying to stretch his legs just a little bit on that Mazda 2. He said in the interview leading up to this that he's undefeated in that car so far this year, including both races here during the June sprints. So he's pretty confident. But Chuck Mathis, like I say, with that qualifying performance, with a tow or without, was right there with him. And Chuck has had, like I said, had a national championship in, I'm guessing, this very car back when it was in G production.
It may have been, yeah, but you watch him now. He's just going to try and hold that gap at that point. But he's got to watch Steve Sargis. Maybe at the beginning, stayed side by side with Chris Albin to the first corner. He straightened that out, and now we look at him. He's tucked up underneath. You even said, can he catch a draft behind these much larger, boxier cars, or as Chuck Mathis calls it, the aerodynamics of the barn door. He's definitely giving a draft to Sargis at this point. I'm wondering if Sargis is going to play it cool here and stick in behind rather than trying to pop out.
You don't start 40 runoffs without a little racecraft, and Steve Sargis certainly has his share. He's got 9 gold medals and 22 medals in that 39 race history, so you never count him out.
And that's exactly what he did. He stayed in behind Mathis. Mathis was able to use a little draft there down the marine sweep to be able to pull up to the back of Jesse Prather, and that beautiful chrome blue Sunoco livery. That thing just looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a great car. Just a little puff of smoke out of Sargis' car on the upshift. It is British after all.
It is a triumph.
Yeah, don't be too concerned about that. That's normal. But here comes Mathis, is getting that Volkswagen up on the cam, and he is right on the back door of Jesse Prather, taking advantage of the draft. Jesse riding right in the middle of the straightaways. Mathis thinking about going around the outside. Is he going to throw the dummy? Nope, he's going to stay there in single file as they take it through. Prather's Mazda 2 with that inside rear wheel off the ground as he turns in at turn number 1. Over the Aaron's Tunnel down into turn number 3. These 3 beginning to pull away. Sports car, of course, claiming these are going to be our podium finishers. Their money's on Jesse Prather to take the win, but I don't think, based on what we're seeing in the early stages here, there's nothing in it between these three drivers.
Yeah, there's no given between these three, and I was even tipped off when I got here on site that we're going to see a three-way fight between them. And right now, we might just be seeing the fight, or maybe Sargis is just sort of getting his line, wants to see maybe a little cool air up underneath the bit of that bonnet to try and cool the old Triumph Spitfire on the straightaways. Sitting behind another car for a long period of time limits that air.
Yep.
He was just thinking, yeah, let me take this opportunity. I want to see these little bits to see if Jesse's as fast through here this lap as he was on the previous, because that's where he had opened that gap before they got past the kink, and then they were reeled back in.
You know, the question was asked of Jesse, you know, why did you abandon that all-conquering BMW that you raced for a number of years? He says, you know, it's great to be back in a Mazda, and I was looking for a new challenge. He's never run in H production before, so this is a new opportunity for him. He's got a tuning shop, of course. He's a second-generation racer. His dad, Kent, a multiple national champion in his own right. You know, Jesse's looking for a new challenge. And same story with everybody in the field. Every runoffs is a new challenge. Every runoffs a new opportunity to go for that gold medal. Sargis diving to the inside. Are they going to go too wide through the kink? Not quite.
Making Chuck think about it is what he's doing.
Exactly
He's showing
right.
Chuck, hey, I'm faster through here. Maybe we ought to switch if we're going to have this issue, because Jesse clearly quicker than Chuck coming out of turn 5 all the way down through the kink. Jesse's got an advantage there, and I think maybe Steve is signaling to Chuck saying, hey, you know, maybe we need to think about swapping so we can stick with Jesse through this other stuff.
Chris Albin and Matt Brandon having a good battle just behind them for 4th and 5th as well. But Prather with a little bit of breathing room as we see that battle. Chris Albin in the yellow Volkswagen, the number 3, and then the Fiat X19 of Matt Brandon just behind him. Good battle for 4th spot.
Racing that car for a very long time. Deeply involved with SCCA. His family's part of SCCA.
Andy's right here in the press room.
So Andy's, well, she's probably down there on the pit lane, I would guess, perhaps, at this point. But, you know, and Chris, was it last year he was up on the podium at VIR? So he's had success. He sticks around races. He knows how to stay in it. He knows how to keep the car running. And right now, sitting in the 4th spot, just ahead of Brandon in that Fiat. Now, those Fiats are still under development. They're a little underpowered compared to the rest of the field, but he's sitting behind the big, giant yellow brick of the Volkswagen Golf of Albin, so that may be helping him a little bit.
Brandon's got 2 medals, a 2nd and a 3rd in his 11 runoff starts, so he's no stranger to the podium as well. Greg Galper in the number 15, another former winner in this class, winning in 2011. And then right behind him, the 33 of Robert Bax from the Cincinnati region.
All these Midwesterners here. I mean, Jesse's like the quote-unquote Westerner all the way out in Topeka. But look at this. You got Illinois, Wisconsin. You got a couple of Ohio's in there, some Illinois, some Michigans, all here in this group. So the Midwest is a hotbed for H Prod, which is why they've got the H Production Invitational every year at Mid-Ohio. Clearly, your home track. You know that event. You know how that goes.
Exactly.
And it's been a fantastic event for this class. It's like a midsummer party for all the H Prods to come on out. They have great competition there, great parties, barbecues, the whole deal. And Jason Stein, a big part of that. I'm sure he's sitting there listening in and watching this, probably not listening to us, probably get the volume down and just watching the action, focused in on what this class is doing.
Yeah, exactly right. It's turning into a 2-way battle here. This is the part of the race course where Jesse's car is just so dominant. He really has it handling well. And no surprise. I mean, he's a pretty good wrench. And he's got that car tweaked to handle very nicely. And there may be a horsepower differential between the top 3 cars, but Jesse's really got that car dialed in. And he's a pretty good nut behind the wheel, too. So.
I'm going to keep an eye on Sargis, because we saw the last lap. He was tucked underneath the back of Mathis, and he kept kind of popping out, like either he was showing him something or he was maybe looking for a braking zone. I'm wondering still if he's looking for some cooling underneath there. Just sitting behind that car for so long, dropping back 2 seconds, gives him some cleaner air. As well as Chuck looks like he may have picked up the pace through that sector a little bit. He's closed up to the back of Jesse on this lap, but Steve may be managing temperature.
Yeah. So by the time they get down to turn 14 here, Mathis is right back on Jesse's rear bumpers. So it's the ebb and flow as they work their way around. Once again, a little puff of smoke out of the back of Sargis' car. But look at these two. I mean, they are locked together. There is absolutely nothing in it. Terminal velocity-wise, I would think Jesse's car might be a little quicker, but here goes Mathis. He's going to try to flex his muscles just a little bit. Jesse's going to make him go the long way around at turn 1 if he's going to make this pass. They're going to stay side by side, right out to the edge. Jesse gives him racing room.
And Jesse holds the line.
Holds the line, able to keep that keep that Mazda 2 in front as they head down into turn 3.
And it's quality, respectful racing there. Both drivers leaving each other just enough room there.
Yep.
And then Chuck knowing that, okay, gets to the outside, didn't have the momentum, he backs out of it. Smart move by both of those drivers in that. And maybe thinking the longer we battle, the longer we keep Steve Sargis in this, because I'm wondering if they're both checking those mirrors and saying if we can go a little longer in line, perhaps we pull away from Steve.
Yep. Yeah, and Sargis is doing just the opposite. He's saying, you guys keep doing that, Get side by side, start banging on each
If I'm one of these two, I don't know that I want to leave a 9-time gold medalist in my mirrors for too long.
Yeah, exactly right. Up the hill they come under the Corvette Bridge into the very tricky turn number 6. It's been the scene of a lot of action here this weekend already. This is the first day of the competition for the 60th running of the National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco. And it's how fitting that Sunoco boldly emblazoned on the side of Jesse Prather's car.
For Chuck Mathis, he was able to get that run off of 14 to start this lap, to go all the way through start-finish, but he really didn't get a nose ahead of Jesse until they were long past the start-finish line. I think that's telling for Chuck. That may have been an opportunity to see, can he pass from 14 to the start-finish line? I don't know that he can, unless he still thinks he's a better, thinks he can get a better run off of the final corner.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think his role is going to be, as we get into the closing stages of this race, to try to get in front of Prather and get the lead on him before they get down to turn 14, like right here.
Yeah, right here. And don't be surprised if maybe this lap, perhaps next lap, if Chuck tries it to see, can he make that move, and does it then stick all the way to start-finish? Because you want to test those things in the first half of the race. You can start to then play out the chess moves for the late section of the race, but you got to have more data. Sargis is still hanging around. He's matching them sector for sector now, so he's not dropping off, which makes me think he really is just managing temperature, let these guys maybe try and drive their cars off, while Sargis just plays the slow game here.
Here's another dress rehearsal for Mathis to see just how close he can stay between the exit of 14 and the start-finish line. And it looks like, his momentum peaks just about here, right about pit out.
No move this time, though.
Yep, he's going to stay single file. Again, I think your point is well taken. I think they realize, we're only on working race lap number 5 of the scheduled 13. So maybe take a little time, put a little bigger cushion between themselves and the 9-time champion, Steve Sargis.
Yeah, a little bit of cushion always helps. You don't want to leave somebody around that clearly is able to win a lot of races. Look at Sargis' history. He's essentially either a DNF or a podium. It's pretty much his history in this car. And here in his 40th runoff start, he's got a pretty good record coming in of 22 podiums in those 40 starts. It's kind of either the car doesn't finish or he's on the podium right now in a podium position. Just 2 seconds back from his front runners, as we've got a shot there of Andrew Wright.
In the 07 from the Tennessee region in his Triumph Spitfire. And corner workers are noting that they're seeing a little more smoke out of his car than they're comfortable with. They want to make sure he's not putting anything down on the racetrack.
Yeah. Well, he's out there in this race. His wife is in this race, Leanna Wright. She's in that blue Mini Cooper.
Right.
Had a chance to talk to them before this thing got started. And I'm talking to Andrew. He's at the car out there by the lane there in the paddock. His wife's under the canopy about 30 feet from us, and they just kind of kept their distance, kind of that, fun rivalry going on between them. It was pretty good to watch and be a part of. And they're just a happy group that loves to be racing in this field.
We talked about Chuck Mathis and his success in the 2006 G production race. So he's been with this car, or one very much like it. It was a Volkswagen that he won in back then as well. Whether or not it's this car, I'm not sure, but Jesse's car, much newer to him as a new development. So Mathis is certainly much more comfortable probably with the little tweaks that he has to do in his driving style to keep this car under him and maintain his competitiveness. Jesse, like I say, no stranger, a 6-time national champion, but he is certainly...
Yeah, our little stats birdie just told me that Jesse, a 6-time champion, got his first gold medal in 2006 in his F production car. Chuck Mathis got his championship in 2006 in his G production. So those two have been linked together for a while, going back to that point. And it's great to see them here now rivals after 18 years, still doing it.
Jesse won the Donahue Award that year, as a matter of fact, presented by the RRDC for outstanding performance in SCCA road racing. And then he backed it up in 2022, winning the President's Cup when he won one of his e-production championships. Pretty good battle here between Galper in the 15 and Robert Bax in the 33 Mini Cooper.
Yeah, Bax has been catching Galper slowly, a little under a second per lap, and you can see him right here now. Bax is right there under the rear hatch of that Civic.
It's a Civic SI, and Greg Galper, again, native to Wisconsin. Hubertus is his home. 2011.
Mini was
H-Prod
huge
champion.
compared to that mid-'80s Civic.
Yeah. As they go nose to tail under the Sargento Bridge. Heading down the Moraine sweep.
So I'd gone past these guys a couple of days ago after qualifying. Started looking there at Greg Galper. He had the laptop connected. He's on the phone with his builders, having a bit of an issue there. Wasn't quite putting out the power that he wanted. I'm thinking maybe he's got that fixed. He's in a great battle here, running up in the top 6. It's a good run for somebody who a couple of days ago was going, I don't know how this car is going to run at all.
Yeah.
It's great to see him get that tuned and get it fixed.
And this battle for 6th and 7th between Galper and Bax. Exiting turn 7 in hurry downs, down toward turn number 8. Line astern as they exit turn 8. Just behind them is William Traynor in his Scirocco, and he's been passed actually by.
I think it was Braden Connolly, I think maybe coming through there in that.
You're right.
Neon.
You're absolutely right. Braden Connolly up into that position as he's picked both of them off, Traynor and Angus Chrome, now dropping back to 9th and 10th as Braden Connolly in the X19.
You can see those different lines that these drivers take. You saw the Scirocco, a Traynor, very tight, and then you can see the Golf of Angus a little bit wider and sweeping. He's trying to just clip that late apex coming down at the exit of the carousel. Then you can see the lines there tracking out. There's the Golf of Chrome, but Traynor not quite tracking out all the way coming out of the kink. So everybody a little bit different driving styles here in H-Prod.
Yeah, the X19, as you mentioned, not a whole lot of horsepower, but it's mid-engine, so it ought to handle particularly well. And you can see Braden leaving a lot of margin on the exit of the kink. He had plenty of track left over, and he was able to maintain his momentum through there.
Look at lap times, and right now, obviously, our front two are the two quickest on the track. The next quickest right now is Matt Brannon, actually, in the faster of the two Fiats in the field. Matt running a strong 5th place right now as we're watching Braden Connolly in the second of those, but Brannon in the 239s right now. That bodes well for him at this stage of the race.
Robert Bax making the move on Galper down to the inside of turn 1. He's able to make it stick. We'll see if Galper can answer back in the run down to turn 3, but does not look so. So Robert Bax moving up into 6th spot now.
We had seen Bax closing in on Galper, but it took almost a whole lap to finally make that pass going into 1. Good move there. Good respectful racing between both Galper and Bax.
Yeah. It's always great to see these drivers giving each other racing room, and you know, there's a lot of talk in some classes about rubbing his racing and bump drafting and all those sorts of things that happen in road racing. And, you know, I get that. It's fun to watch that as well, but it's also fun to watch you know, drivers giving each other racing room and just trying to do it as cleanly as possible. And speaking of Matt Connolly, he's still right on the back of Matt Brandon, excuse me, right on the back of Chris Albin.
He is, and I think that he's looking like he wants Chris to drive the front tires off of that Volkswagen. The mid-engine maybe a little balanced on the handling there. It's going to manage his tires better. Albin's got to watch the front drive Volkswagen. Look at it protecting here as they come off of the carousel down towards the kink. Chris having to watch a little bit, manage those tires. He could get pushy late in the race if he's not careful. The other thing that happens on these front drive cars sometimes is the fuel load goes down, and then you get the opposite effect because the back end gets too light. But take a look at this, though, as Brandon now is making Albin think about it going into Canada.
I think he's going to pop, and he does. Down to the inside is Matt Brandon. He makes that pass pretty cleanly even before they got to the turn-in point. it left his braking a little later than he probably would have liked, but he was able to make the pass stick. So Albin now, a very experienced driver in his own right. Let's see if he's got anything to pay the favor back here now that he's behind Matt Brannon.
He showed good power coming out of Canada right there. He was right up on the back of that Fiat, really with no trouble at all. Let's see if that power helps him here down the front straight, up this huge, huge hill for these H-Prod cars. Speaking of down the front straight.
Battle for the lead. Jesse Prather on the inside in that blue Mazda. The orange Volkswagen of Chuck Mathis on the outside. But once again, Prather able to hold strong. At the line, they were separated by just about a quarter of a second. As we're into the second half of this one, working race lap number 8, Mathis has reset fast lap of the race at a 2:37.8.
That's quick.
That's faster than they qualified. The qualifying time was a 2:38.4, so 3/4 of a second quicker than they qualified. Running in formation just as they did in qualifying. Sargis gradually falling off the back of this battle, so it doesn't look like he has the pace to run with these guys.
I think that's the signal there that Chuck's going to start pressuring Jesse a little bit, maybe try and force Jesse to drive his tires off, although what we saw out of Jesse is he could run all the way through the session and still turn fastest laps during qualifying, 7-8 laps. Now we're in the 8th lap, working towards 13. We'll see how that car holds up. I can tell you about Chuck's car. That car the chassis is so light. They've got, I think it was 150 pounds of lead in that car.
Just to
Giant
make weight.
bricks.
Yeah.
It's all in the back. They've got this thing balanced so well. And that's Broering.
Yep, that's the trouble for Tom Broering in the number 90, as he is stopping in a cloud of dust, cloud of smoke in his 77 Spitfire. Doing a little good job on the mosquitoes here in that area. So we talked about attrition being a factor here as we're into the second half of this one.
He's
Tom
down,
Broering.
I think, near 14, if I've got that right. Maybe somewhere at the crossover, perhaps, behind Bill Mitchell Bend down 13.
Here's another battle a little deeper in the field. A 06 of Joe Camilleri from the Ohio region. He's back in 13th position. Right behind him, Leanna Wright in her Mini Cooper.
So again, Leanna, of course, Andrew Wright and Leanna, husband and wife out there. Leanna having her own great battle here with Camilleri.
Camilleri in one of the Scirocco's down into turn 5. There was an apex there somewhere.
Leanna found it.
Yeah, she found it. As he makes his way up under the Corvette bridge. And here we go, back to the battle between Albin and Brandon. Brandon's still with the advantage. You can see the smoking number 90 of Tom Broering. There at the exit of Thunder Valley.
Yeah, it looks like Broering at least was able to get the car way off track right there at that crossover road. So it looks like it's totally out of play. That's really good. We'll continue to play on under green flag conditions. This battle, I mean, there's 2 battles on the track. Clearly, Prather and Mathis at the front. This is the other great battle as Albin's got the horsepower down the straight, trying to make a pass for 4th.
Brandon running right down the middle of the racetrack, trying to maintain his advantage. Albin not able to carry the same corner speed that little Fiat did, and so he's able to eke out just a little bit more of an advantage as Matt Brandon. Down through turn 3, same story. And here we go. Mathis and Prather continue their battle. Chuck Mathis is just looking for any way to unsettle Jesse, looking for some way to force him into a mistake, perhaps.
He's trying. He's tried that now a couple times. Get on the outside at 5 and force Jesse into a bad exit. Maybe trying to set up a pass to 6. The thing is, Jesse is so smooth on the brakes that he can stay on that inside and carve that arc just perfectly. Chuck has to do the same on the outside. Otherwise, you can't hold that outside line. You've got to really be so precise on the brakes and turning. Jesse's showing he can do that.
Exactly right. Mathis just a little bit wide at the exit of turn 8, but not so much to cost him too much time. But like I say, this is the portion of the racetrack where Jesse's car really shows its strength.
Look how tight that line is for Prather. Just painting that white line down the inside beautifully, mid-distance, all the way around the carousel. But going back to Chuck and the move that he tried there at 5 and didn't do successfully, if I'm Chuck, I may be thinking about trying that move a couple of times and practicing it to get it right, only because if he can get a nose in front of Jesse at some point, this is Jesse's strength on the track, I think, is down here from 5 down through the carousel. I think you limit that if you're Chuck, if you can get a nose in front of him. You can see here, no opportunities here to pass if you're Chuck. He's pretty good through Canada, but I think he's got to work on making the move going into 5.
Yeah. He's got to shave that advantage that he gives away as much as he can through that section of the racetrack. So he's got a little something going on in this section of the racetrack where he needs to be in front or at least right on the bumper as they begin to climb up the hill.
The other spot for Chuck is he's been on the front straight. He's been getting to the left, to the outside of Jesse, going into 1, and it hasn't quite worked out. I'm wondering if maybe he should think of trying. Camilleri there. Oh, look at it. Take a look at Chuck Matheson now. So he did not make the move into 1, but look at it. He's going to try and get a good exit of 3 this time. He may be trying that to get the run down this back straight and have a better move into 5. I think he's got to get the nose ahead when they hit the brakes. He can't do it from behind, try to outbrake Jesse Prather. That's just not going to work. He's going to have to get the nose ahead and have an advantage, even if he does an up and under. I don't know that Jesse's going to leave the door open on the inside, but that would be the better line if he could get there. He's going to keep that door shut. Middle of the track for Prather. Good car placement.
Yep. Mathis not able to challenge him at this point, but still some racing left to go. We're working race lap number 10, so there'll be 3 to go next time across the line. As they've got a little traffic in front of them.
That could help Mathis a little bit.
Michael Miller, I believe, in his blue and white Austin Healey Sprite, about to go a lap down.
Yeah, the traffic could definitely help if it slows up Jesse at all through this part of the track. Although, good job there for that driver to go ahead and stay out of the way.
Stay off the racing line and point him past.
Good job, Michael.
Yes, sir. Well done. Good sportsmanship. Good situational awareness.
Yes.
There we have it.
Absolutely. But again, look how fast Jesse is through that carousel, down through the kink. That car's got all kinds of grip. Chuck a little better this time through the kink, though. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to be close enough to at least fake a move, if not make a move.
Yeah. Prather's going to guard that inside line. Chuck's going to try to go the long way around. As they come into Canada, he should have better exit speed. Jesse had to compromise his run through Canada because he was not all the way over to driver's left.
Yeah, look how good Jesse is, though, that brake release. Control the car to the apex and just maximize your load all the way to track out. Chuck just had nowhere to go. He didn't quite nail it as well as Jesse does. He's so good at that, Jesse is.
Yeah. Get that inside rear wheel hiked about a foot off the ground coming through turn 14. As they climb the hill, and this is another dress rehearsal for Mathis. If he can get that close, can he pop before they get to the line? And it doesn't look like he can, but again, as they get closer to terminal velocity, Chuck's car seems to be a little faster. But
that was interesting that Chuck got up right up on the back. In fact, the shadows disappeared between the cars. It shows me that there was no daylight between Mathis and Prather. Mathis seemed to back off a little bit, like he knows he wasn't going to make the move, so he just gave up a little bit. And I wonder if in the next lap, or even on white flag lap, are we going to see Chuck stay in that? If he can get that same run off of 14 that he did, I think he's got a shot of leading going into 1 on the final lap.
Yeah, we talk about the chess match between these drivers, and that may be a lot of what's going on.
Their pace is strong right now.
Oh, yeah. Mathis just reset fast lap of the race, a 37.7, as they are approaching a second faster than they qualified. Into turn number 5. Once again, just about identical lines on the exit. As they climb the hill under the bridge to turn 6. Prather with about a 3-car length advantage.
He does, and that car just looks so smooth
Yep.
through some of these slower corners. I just wonder what's going through Chuck Mathis's mind right now. What is he thinking about which move? Because both of these are very calculated drivers. These guys, they've got plan A, B, C, plan A1, A2, and A3 all the way down. So let's see which plan Chuck pulls out here and which counter plan Jesse can lay down.
into the Mission Foods Bridge into the kink once again as we're working race lap 11. So 2 to go as they cross the line next time.
A little further back this time for Mathis, coming down from the kink to Canada. Like he's just not attempting a move. Maybe he's thinking just kind of bring the car down a little bit, give the tires a rest. The last lap, fastest lap of the race, he may have got the tires a little bit overwarmed. This is the chance to kind of bring that down a little bit, knowing there's 2 to go.
Exactly right. Playing the long game.
It's smart car management and race strategy, race management.
You betcha. Sweeping down into turn 14. Beginning to climb up the hill. This time Mathis got a great exit out of 14. Maybe a little more momentum for the climb.
Not enough to get him at the stripe, though. So again, I think he's got to do a little better than that if he wants to get him from 14 up on the final lap. But I don't think he's even attempting a move here at all. This is just staying there. He even showed Jesse, I'm not going to go by you. I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah.
It tells me that there may be a move coming right there on the final lap if this time he's deliberately not making a move.
Yep. White flag next time by. As he stays right with him through turn 3 this time. This is probably one of his strongest sections, meaning Mathis, one of his strongest sections of the racetrack here. At the exit of all the way through 3 and the exit of 3 down the hill into turn 5. More traffic ahead as the Datsun 510 of R. Paul Evans.
Jesse not as much protecting this time. Chuck not showing that he's even going to attempt to move yet. I really do think Chuck may be looking at this last lap front straight or last lap back straight are his 2 best chances.
See Jesse double tap on the brakes on the run up the hill. Or if his pedal's getting a little long, or if he just wants to make sure he's got brakes for that turn number 6.
Jesse did say that car is set up where the fuel load goes down. It does start to move real well. It doesn't just wear the front tires free to push. The car actually maybe comes into a better balance late in the race. It's Chuck running wide.
Yeah, that could be, you talked about the fuel burning off on Chuck's car, affecting the balance. Maybe Jesse's car is coming to him here in the closing moments. Again, great job by R. Paul Evans to let them by without getting mixed up in this battle for the lead.
I don't think that wide run at 8 was part of Chuck Mathis's plan there. I think he was hoping to be a car length or 2 closer. He's really got to nail the kink run here down to Canada. I think he's done it. I think he's going to use this draft to get close. We're going to see if he doesn't make the pass on the front straight. I think we're going to see an aggressive move on the back straight into 5 on that last lap.
Yeah, next time into this corner will be the key, I think, if Mathis has a chance for victory. But, look at these two. 13 laps, and they have been this way all the way. I mean, there is just nothing in it.
Nothing has changed a bit.
But we're coming to the white flag this time by.
All right, Chuck is set up well. Look at that.
Yep, great exit.
He almost needs to go early. I'm wondering if he wanted to get up the hill before he popped, and he had to pop because he had gotten such a good run off of 14. They're going to be side by side, but look at the motor in the Mazda.
Yeah, I think that was a dress rehearsal for Chuck to see if he had any prayer of catching him to the line on that last lap. If he's not in front, I think he's realized he's got to be ahead of that Mazda if he's got any chance to take the win.
The other thought with these two, they're both so strategic and they can play the games, is to pop out, look like you're going to go, knowing you're going to make the back straight move anyway, which for Chuck might be the better option. It gives fewer chances for Jesse to repass under another draft straight.
Exactly. Chuck's as close as he's been here at the exit of 3, really coming into his strength here. Thinks about it, then he falls back in. Let's take advantage of as much draft as I can as he tries to tuck in behind.
How much protection does Jesse do? How far left does Jesse have to go? Chuck's got to make a move up into here. I don't know if he's close enough.
Jesse's going to stay over to driver's left. That's going to compromise his exit here. Mathis going to try to do the over-under, but he just can't get it. That Mazda does have a great... You wouldn't believe that a little Mazda 2 would have enough torque to be able to pull away like that, but he's able to get it done.
And I think that's Jesse, like I said, on the brakes, the weight transfer, to get the weight over and hold it there and make a beautiful transfer to keep the weight on the side and then lay the power in. The car doesn't dance, the car doesn't twitch, and Jesse really has strong control.
the early stages, we had a lot of talk about, is Steve Sargent's going to be a factor in this battle? He's 21 seconds behind these two. So I think the answer to that is an emphatic no.
These guys are in their 13th qualifying lap in this race, essentially,
Exactly.
the pace they've been running.
Yeah, they're running faster than they qualified all race long.
Yeah.
This is just nuts.
All right, let's see if Chuck can get a run. We think that Jesse's looking strong.
Both of them right out to the gator's teeth. Last best chance, I think, for Chuck Mathis coming up here in about 100 yards. As they come down into turn 12. Canada corner. Mathis goes for it. Figured that'd be it. He says, why not? Oh, they're going to touch. Mathis gets sideways. Prather goes wide, but kept his foot in it and took the lead back. That could have ended in tears, and Steve Sargis could have another gold medal.
Yeah,
But-
both drivers able to recover. Front drive, put your foot in it, pull out of it, and they do. But you had to figure Chuck was going to try, and he did.
Yep.
Surprised actually to see the contact. Figured these guys leave enough room. Chuck, I don't know if he's got enough up the hill though.
Let's see. He hasn't had up to this point, but there's something extra on this final lap. He's going to pull alongside. They make the run to the line, and it's Jesse Prather taking his 7th national championship. But I'll tell you what, probably one of our best races at the front of the runoffs so far. Great job between those two. Steve Sargis, the 9-time national champion, making his way up the hill as well. And he'll take yet another medal. This will be his 23rd out of 40 starts.
Yeah, we saw
For
Mark
Steve
Bowden get a
Sargis.
23rd earlier today. Now Steve Sargis going to be 23 medals. That is a full trophy cabinet.
And tip of the hat to Matt Brandon. Great job. Holds off the veteran, Chris Albin, for 4th position.
That was a good race, too. The front race, we couldn't take our eyes off of. I tell you, Matt Brandon, Chris Albin, they're going to probably have a big hug and maybe go grab a beer after this one.
Yep. Galper all by himself now in that number 15 as Robert Bax falling off the back of that battle. If you'll remember, those two were nose to tail for much of this race. Has Bax not come by?
I don't think he is. He may be on the back straight somewhere. I don't see sector signs for him, so Bax may have had an issue on the final lap.
Galper
Which
across the
leaves
line to take
this-
6th.
This is the battle for 7th then between Trainer and Chrome.
Yeah, Bax is in trouble. So Trainer and Crone are going to take 7th and 8th, and they're going to battle that between the two of them. That's Angus Chrome in the 142 to the inside. Trainer trying to hold him off in the run to the line, and it'll be Trainer as he will take 7th place honors. And then here comes Braden Connolly just behind them. He had gotten around this duo. No, Braden's a lap down. He's clear down at the back here. So he is a lapped car at this point.
We'll see what timing scoring shows for him when he comes across the stripe.
Yeah. He's being shown a lap down to the leaders in 16th position. Here's the 07 of Andrew Wright, so he should be the next car in line. Kendall Jones is just behind him in that green MG midget.
And then the good battle between Camilleri and Leanne Wright should be happening just behind these guys.
Yeah.
Leanna and the Mini trying to catch a Scirocco.
And again, Robert Bax with trouble on the final lap. Yeah, and here comes that battle between Camilleri and Leanna. Camilleri in the orange Scirocco. Leanna going to try to get the job done as they make the run to the stripe. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
I think the Scirocco, maybe?
According to timing and scoring, it's the Scirocco by 7 1/1000ths of a second. Oh, man, you couldn't be any closer.
I'd say they're going to celebrate after a nice battle, too, but I think Leanna and Andrew Wright are actually hopping on a plane tonight. They got a wedding to get to this week, and otherwise they'd be celebrating with the rest of the class tonight. She was in a hurry to go and hop on that flight.
Okay. All right. Hey, great stuff at the front. Jesse Prather and Chuck Mathis, two veteran campaigners, putting on a show. And, two very different cars, very different vintages. Mathis's car is a 1984 Rabbit. Prather's Mazda 2 is a 2011. So, a lot of years of learning. but it just shows.
I'm looking forward to the comments from these guys because it was a really good race. It did look like Jesse was able to control it through out-braking and to be able to carve the exits, the corners, and keep Chuck at bay.
Yep.
Chuck at times maybe had some straight line speed, but not enough. And then that move on the last lap, it looked tight, looked like maybe there was going to be enough room in there, but a little bit of ding. We'll see. Hopefully, it didn't scratch the chrome on the Mazda too much, but
there's a little donut in the middle of the Sunoco logo on that right hand side.
That was a lot of fun to watch. These guys are two very strong racers. It's a couple of great cars. Their whole teams help put these things together, and that was a ton of fun to watch.
No question. Our top three there with the Nissan 510 of Paul Evans coming to the line. So, yeah, I'll be real curious to see Mathis with 4 podiums, his first since 2007, so that's great for him. Jesse now with 7 wins and has at least 1 win in E, F, and now H production.
That's actually very impressive. To kind of run through the current level of production classes to get wins in all of them. Shows you the talent this guy has for building and driving.
Exactly right. And he's already got his helmet off.
That's a pro right there.
You betcha.
He knows what he's doing.
Gold medal goes on. And the hat. And I think it's time for Hayward Wagner. Hayward, you've got Jesse Prather, a 7-time champ in front of you.
Jesse, Chuck was in your mirrors until you guys managed to take one off.
So, I mean, it was a great race, man. I mean, I haven't had that good of a back-and-forth race like that at the runoff since, feels like the last time I raced Steve Sargis or Brian Lynn in 06 and 07. I mean, that was a race. So, I mean, what a balance of 2 cars that do things better in different ways. I mean, I had him on the backside, and then he was catching me in places that were just boggling my mind. And so I had to play a lot of protection in that race. But, man, really good racecraft. I mean, that is why I race, is a race just like that.
Well, congratulations to you on the championship. I believe it is the 6th. Did I hear that correctly?
7.
Yep.
7.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on number 7. You get to take one more lap here. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Jesse Prather taking his 7th championship, and again, cars that he has built himself as he will take the win. Here's our top 10 rundown. Chuck Mathis finishing 2nd. Margin of victory just over 0.2 of a second. Steve Sargis was in the hunt early, but it faded to 3rd spot, down about 20 seconds. Matt Brannon, a great run in 4th, up 2 from where he qualified. Chris Albin and Greg Galper had a battle all race long. The 2 of them finally coming home 5th and 6th. William Traynor on the last lap, moving up into 7th spot. Angus Crome coming with him. Andrew Wright holding off Kendall Jones for the final spot in the top 10.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. That battle was great. Good craftsmanship, as Jesse was saying.
Exactly right. Let's head down and hear from Chuck Mathis.
Chuck, it looked like you tried every way you could get around him and just came together right there at the end. Talk about the race.
I pushed as hard as I could. We do different. He's got better corners. I've got better corners. I just I had to make the last attempt, and that's all there was to it. But Jesse was an awesome guy to race with. It's a bummer we got together, but it was just hard racing. It wasn't being stupid.
Well, it was a heck of a race. He said probably the best battle he's had the runoff since 06. Of course, that was an important year to you as well, so congratulations here on the silver.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Very welcome. Steve, come on up. A bronze for you. I heard some ridiculous number like 23rd or 24th medal overall. How does this one feel?
Yeah, they keep count for me. I just watch the wins, I guess. It feels pretty good. I mean, we had a horrible week last week, so I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad the car stayed together. And I really didn't have to work on it that much. And I'm going to concentrate now on my son's race tomorrow, so it's all good. I get to be here with my boy. In a couple of years, I'll be here with both of them, and then I'll retire.
Well, anytime you get to spend a week at Road America with a little British car and you don't wrench a lot, that's a pretty good week.
Yeah, that is fair. That is really true. And the car actually ran probably better today than it did all week, so that's good too.
Well, congratulations to you on the bronze.
Thank you very much.
And we believe it is 23, the correct number for Steve Sargis, to go along with 9 wins in his 40 starts. And you're right, it's another father-son runoffs. Let's cover the highlights of this one as those front two. Chuck Mathis leading across the line from the pole.
That was about as far apart as they would get all day, all 13 laps. This was just a constant view. Jesse, these were good opportunities here for Chuck, but look how good Jesse is at that carving through the corner. He leaves room, but he's got the exit speed too. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. And then we had the explosion of the number 90 of Tom Roaring. Just about 3/4 distance, and then here comes the bonsai move on the last lap. He had to do it. They touch, but they both were able to maintain control. And I don't think Jesse lifted at all as he just kept his foot in it and made it to the line. As Chuck gave one last gasp in the hope that he could draft by him, but it just was not to be. But a great race. It's one where you kind of wish you could split that gold medal in half and give it to the two of them.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Great race, great driving for both of them. And I love this class. This is the kind of racing you get in H-Prod.
Absolutely right. H-Prod is in the history books for the 2024 runoffs. Thanks again to Mazda for presenting our broadcast. And we've got plenty more racing yet to come this weekend, so don't go anywhere. And on behalf of Lefty McLeod and Haywood Wagner, I'm John Phippen. Thanks so much for being with us as we've crowned the gold medal winner in H production.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Picture your perfect garage. How many cars are in there? Great, great. Now picture reality. How many cars can you actually have? Me too. With SCCA Club Spec, one car becomes your daily, your track car, your autocross car, even your time trials car. S197 Mustang if you like V8s and torque, NC Miata if you like compact and agile. SCCA Club Spec, spirited dailies, competitive race cars. Learn more at scca.com.